Please subscribe to help you and your motorcycle perform better. Way back in the day when racing was popular, and thousands of people showed up to race events, prior to the season starting, even at club level, you had to show up with all your wheels, all of them, immaculately cleaned, ready to go, and you dropped off your wheels. For 4 days, in this case Dunlop, went and balanced every single wheel that week. Lucky guess. So at that point, we know that 2 of those, the 5 FGs, balance our rim perfectly. Now the next piece of the equation is, well, this is temporary, and because we're doing this for filming, let's do something else that's interesting. We're still missing the rotor, and if we're missing the rotor, is that going to make a difference as well? So we'll do exactly the same thing, but first, let's take the wheel down. Let's get our bar off, and let's go ahead and install the rear rotor and see what difference we get with that added to it. The bolts are hand tight and snug, so they're seated in a nip because we've got some other work to do. But for the purposes of what we're doing here, it is and has no free play at all because it's mounted securely. So let's put it back to our original orientation. Yeah. Now that we've put the rotor on, let's leave it at 9 o'clock. Oops. So now we have to figure out, is 3 sufficient, or 2.5, or what do we need? Let's get our cutters and cut this one in half here and re-adhere it. So professional tire people are going because they have a real tool to do this. We do not.
Ta-da! That's how the pioneers did it.
So we took the original set of rotors off, and now we're just going to let the wheels settle out. With no rotors on it, I want to see if the high spot goes anywhere near 12 o'clock. So you can see we're nowhere near 12 o'clock with the rotors off. So all the bolts were put back in the same hole, so that's a constant. At 9 o'clock, with the previous setup, it was perfectly balanced. So at 9 o'clock, you can see where we were. So that says we need more weight.
Without the rotors.
Without the rotors. And then we know it's going to come back over here where the mark was, about 11 o'clock, and that'll be fine. So now we know what we've got. Let's go ahead and put a second set of OEM rotors on and see if that all plays out. Okay, so there's our gold mark. So now with the rotors on, let's see if it's perfectly balanced. The other one was. So the dash at the bottom is the heavy point of the wheel because that's down, and the dot is the 12 o'clock notch that we want for the balance point of the wheel. So a little bit of duct tape and some experimentation with weights. Bring that to 9 o'clock. Go ahead and stick that in. Set it. A little too heavy, smaller weight. Bring it back to the dot. Nine o'clock. It's balanced. Now we know the weight we need, which is this one. We can go ahead and epoxy it to the rim. So this was our worst wheel of the entire set, trying to get them balanced. So we have 3, 6, 8 weights on it. And at that point, that's the amount of weights you've got to put on every single time, maybe more depending on the tire. And so this is a little more validation for balancing the rim first.
That one is crazy. What the hell is wrong with it? We got some quality control back in 2005.
Catch the full video at DaveMossTuning.com.